Caught my wife cheated with our neighbor. Almost 2 years ago I am 34 caught my wife F34 with our neighbor's boyfriend. I was so devastated because I thought she would never do this to me. It had took me a while, but I got over it, but it was clear my kindness was taken for weakness. It makes me feel like you can't be nice to other people these days. Especially if you can't be loving to your wife. Me and my wife have been married for 7 years and I just loved her more and more. She was the nicest person you could meet, and would give a homeless person on the street a sandwich if she could. She was genuinely a kind person, and that made me lucky to be with her. My wife was always supportive even when COVID hit, and we got our hours cut and my job. Then when it had settled down we started working crazy hours to get caught up. If there was anything I didn't want to do, it was to let her down, or disappoint her. I always called her my better half because at the time that's what she was. I was the one that might cause a problem in the house, and as the woman of the house, she would reel me in sometimes. She had good looks, character, and she was patient. If there's anything I would point out as bad, it was that she was raised in a toxic household. It was more like house full of drama, honestly. My wife's parents would always party and hang out, leaving her older sister Elena to take care of them. When her sister got older, she started doing the same things. I guess my wife had decided there's no sense in both of them being crazy. It fell apart thanks to our neighbor Tina and her bad excuse for a boyfriend Vince. I didn't really know Vince, but I was able to meet him at her son's birthday party. He seemed like he always had to point out how much of a man he was when me and my wife attended the party. The thing about Vince that kinda rubbed me wrong was when my other neighbors who talked to him said he was a womanizer. He would brag to them about other women, and one-night stands he would have, and Tina would argue with him about her suspensions. I never really got too involved because Tina was my wife's friend. Plus I know a few people who went through what she's going through, but she won't seem to leave him or she'll take him back. I don't know why Tina would take him back if she knew in her heart Vince always cheats on her. I think it's the fact that she already has a 10-year-old son, and she is kinda overweight. It looked like she has low self-esteem, but I thought one day she'd stand up for herself and just didn't. But after their last fight it looked like he was being faithful for a long time. We haven't heard nothing bad about their relationship. I found out the affair on an early Friday, in the middle of spring. I work on an assembly line, and my wife works at the office of elementary school her sister's kids go to. My job was throwing a lunch event, and the big bosses were there. When lunch came we ate hamburgers and hot dogs. After a while, our supervisor thanked us for all the extra hours we put in to get the work caught up and to enjoy the rest of our day. I got confused and asked my coworker if we was going home early. He said I could stay if I want, but he was going home. I never knew this, and this was definitely good news to me, and I ended up leaving to get back home. Getting to go home put me in a real good mood. I honestly didn't know what to do with my day. When driving down my street, I saw my wife's car in Tina's driveway. This confused me because she was supposed to be at work. I knew Tina and my wife was supposed to be working on her garden in the backyard, so I thought she took a day off to help. I decided since I had the rest of the day off I would make good on my promise to help in the garden instead of only it being them and Vince. Pulling in our driveway, I took off my work clothes and decided to help. Tina lived down the street from us, so I had just walked down the street to get there. When I had arrived in the driveway, I saw my wife had some flowers in the back, which explained why she drove instead of walking. But it was weird because I didn't see Tina's car. When I went in the back I didn't see anybody. I went in the sitting area where the garden was and I saw Vince's shirt on the end of the chair and my wife's phone was in the dirt where the garden was supposed to be. I assumed they must be in the house, so I had entered through the back door to try and find them. They wasn't in the living room or dining room, so I went upstairs. When I went upstairs I could hear something in Tina's bedroom. Getting halfway down the hall, that's when I could clearly hear them, and it was obvious what was going on. I ended up leaving very frustrated and angry. I walked back home in both anger and disbelief. There was barely anybody I trusted more than my wife, and I was being cheated on. In my rage, I knew our marriage was over. When she got home I planned to end it, and it was definitely a long wait. The first thing I wanted to do was snatch her phone away for evidence of her affair with Vince, and then show the proof to Tina. About 3 hours passed when she finally came in. When she did I greeted her at the door like nothing was wrong. She asked me why I was home early and I said we had finished all the work. I asked how her day was and she lied about being at work, then helping Tina with her garden. After the small talk I asked her did she still have the pictures of her sister Elena's son at school and that I wanted to send it to my mom. When she pulled out her phone and then opened it, I had snatched it from her hand and made a mad dash to the bathroom. She chased after me screaming, but I made it in to check her text messages. While she screamed and cried, I was totally heartbroken by the evidence. In the text messages it seemed purely physical and she complimented him a lot. She even said she didn't recognize the woman in the mirror anymore. But she liked it. I sent a lot of this to my phone while she was binging on the door. And when I came out she was begging for her phone back. I told her I caught her and Vince at his house and I verbally destroyed her. It got to the point that I was in tears. I asked her how she could do this and she just cried and said I don't know. I told her I know it's been going on for about 6 months, so I want a better answer than that. She still said she don't know, and that it just happened when she was working in the garden with Tina and Vince. I asked her what he said to her and she cried and refused to give me an answer. She begged me not to tell Tina, but I said I was definitely telling her what happened. I told her if she don't want me to tell my sister she needs to pack her stuff and leave because we were over with. She gathered some stuff and left immediately to her mother's house, and after that all I could do was suffer this huge loss. The next day I went to tell Tina about what I saw and show her the text messages. Sitting in her living room I showed her, and she let out a kinda defeated sigh. She thanked me for showing her and said she was going to have a talk with Vince when he gets home. When she said this it wasn't what I wanted to hear. I told her that this was proof that she was right about Vince, but she said again that when he got in they were going to have a discussion. I asked, does this mean she was going to leave Vince, and she said she wasn't going to stand for this and she was going to let him know it. I thought with the evidence she was finally going to dump Vince, but I could tell he was going to get away with it again, and that made me angry. I left it alone and just got up and left since she didn't have the backbone to leave Vince. I went home angry because I hoping there would be consequences for him getting caught. After that there was nothing more to do except get a divorce. After the divorce me and my ex-wife sold the house and we just went our separate ways. I had told our friends and family, and sent them the proof because I know that she would be believed if she said I was the bad person. Me and my wife always supported her sister Elena, so when her sister needed her she let her move in with her for a while. From what I hear, the two of them are inseparable now, and that's not a good thing. She even put a picture of them on Facebook looking drunk, saying her sister is the only one who has her back. To be honest, it was my brother who got me to write about this situation because he kinda blew my mind recently talking about her. He said he was worried at first because he didn't like her older sister and that she might eventually act like her. I think he was right on this because she still admired her sister. Her sister being wild and rebellious didn't help her in the long run. But I guess the apple didn't fall too far from the tree for sure. Redditors' reactions. Redditor 1, yes, treating a cheater nicely and expecting future results to change is a mistake 100% of the time. Redditor 2, glad you divorced her. Now she live a life of drunkenness. You don't need that kind of drama. May you find a trustworthy woman. Redditor 3, great post and I am glad your brother asked, and you complied. Every single BS on here, no, we are not cast in gold. We are human. We have flaws. The thing is, cheating a choice. She chose him with every button she undid to have time with him. She chose him when he bragged himself up about being more of a man. She knew he was belittling you. She allowed that. The neighbor that told you of his womanizing probably knew your wife was being binged by him. People do not want to get involved. But they probably wanted you to at least suspect. The afternoon you got of was calmer way of outing her. You do not feel it, but that was the day her abusing you was brought back into balance. Cheaters do not think it. But I see it as do others. You deserved to know? You are awesome, bro. You conducted yourself like a gentleman with decorum and dignity when you heard them in the bedroom. That one instance shows you are better than both of them. You did not turn violent. They say when you are alone and under pressure, that which you defaults to determine your character. You were alone in there hearing your wife betray you. But you had the dignity to excuse yourself. You're the type of guy that you want next to you when things goes bad. As to your ex, she a broken human. She had a mask on, but when she was alone and AP put the pressure on, she defaulted to who she really was. I am so proud of men and women like you. People who hold themselves to high value and moral outlook. When you summarily ended this again, it shows your unwavering commitment to being a good person. You also criticize and evaluate yourself. That shows you are trying to be better. You will have your dream and it will be happy. Your ex is what she is. Broken and drunk. You walked. If you want to see misery, go see your wife ex-best friend who again tried with your wife AP. She will have been regretting her life over and over. You're regretting time lost. You're regretting lies. But you never will regret your own worth. You proved in every instance you are a good person. Redditor 4, another cheater caught up showing up home early. Anyone in a relationship should consider doing that from time to time. Also pay close attention to your partner's friend and family. More times than not, the apple doesn't fall far. You got out with no kids, so even though things suck now, you can make a clean break.